So I start.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I think we can.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Ha- Happy to see so many of you joining this morning at the sunrise to listen to me. I'll try to talk about a topic uh, which I read about this about 15 days ago, again on the social media. So I thought this is the apt topic that I should share my experiences and my feelings, not this word feeling, feelings about this word invalidation. Shooing away is something that we turn it aside. We all, those who walk in the morning, definitely are aware of shooing away the dogs which they don't like. So, invalidation, I'm sure after this discussion, you would understand that you wouldn't like it. So, hence I said, let's shoo away invalidation if we have to be a good leader. I don't have an agenda slide, but let me take you through next half an hour would be like this. My three experiences, what I'm going to share, which will tell you what invalidation all means about, and what is it that we need to do to see that we keep away from this for the betterment of the areas that we work in, at home, at profession, at meetings, at friendly gatherings, wherever we are with somebody, not just somebody, in fact, wherever we are even alone, we have to keep away from this invalidation. So, moving along, as usual, when I said I'll have three stories, uh, there's something that I have experienced it, I have seen it. Though the stories are not fictitious, but the names and characters and if in case I blurt out a company's name, they are out of my imagination. Is I'm going to say that very clearly. Uh, Now, scene one is like this. Way back, many years ago, uh, I was still, I can say, in my formative years when I had a colleague. For simplicity, I call him Sham. Now, we were a small company with about five, six people, and I have already been in this organization for quite some time. And I had left this organization, but I was still in touch with this organization. And it was the MD of the company always wanted to keep the. Uh, I think I'm hearing a background noise somewhere. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
can all of us except Nagesh mute our microphones? Thank you.
Yeah, now it's muted. Thank you.
Sir,
So
Mr. Satish, if you could probably mute.
I think I can mute everybody.
I'm on mute only.
No, Mr. Satish Bhatt.
Satish Bhatt.
Can you please mute, sir? Satish Bhatt. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Uh, so always this organization for about 20 years has been always a small organization, about five, six people. And I was in touch with this organization and its people because that's where I started my career with. So um had very close association with Sham because he was the one who taught me engineering tips and tricks, tools and techniques in my formative years. He was, though a peer, an year senior to me, well experienced. So I had very close association with him. But he was an engineer, and the MD of the company was an architect. Uh, it used to so happen that the relationship in amongst five six people there was never like a owner or an employee. It was always like a family member. So he had spent good amount of time. One day some the draft woman lady said that, sir, I have spent 5 years, I feel like a family member. It was a close knit family for a very long time. So never an owner employee relationship. But always in an organization, you would relate, or you would this the three stories that I'm going to tell you would take you back in your memories, or some situations that you would also have come across about invalidation. In this organization, I during one-on-ones or during a personal discussion, I always used to hear about somebody talking about somebody else. uh, these one-on-ones keep happening, then you realize that somewhere the stories that you hear from people, even if it's a small knit group, gets twisted somewhere. That's because you don't have the consistency in the stories that you hear. So A, B, C, D, E, they keep telling you about a story, but there is no consistency in that. And it so happened that once Sham came to me and said that I need about 2 3 hours of yours. I need to take some suggestions from you. I said, why not? We can meet this evening. And we met. What he told me was that owner employee relationship was always consistent. However, there was one story that he told me which blew my mind off. He said that nowadays my managing director does not understand what I am telling him. He always keeps telling me that listen to me, whatever it is, do what I say. Come on, is this what you do? I never expected this from you. And now the tone of his discussion, Sham's discussion with his MD, had changed from a family member discussion to an owner employee discussions. When I asked him how often does this happen, he said it happens twice or thrice in a day, maybe for 5 10 minutes. I said a small discussion of 15 20 minutes in a day, why is it bothering you? He said I feel that I am no more required in this organization. I said don't think like that. Then he said, no, this has been lingering in my mind for quite some time. And it's not one or two incidents that's making me think this way. Many things is bothering me. I said, is there something that he has told you which is repetitive? So he said, yes. He said, every day he keeps telling me what I should not do. Also, he says what I should never do. So these two things are bothering me a lot. Then we had, I don't want to get into further conversation that I had with Sham, but however, I realized that one day he left the organization in a very sore note, and he took up a job in Pondicherry. And we were still in touch, but one day when he came to Bangalore, he met me and he said, you don't know what happened. He narrated the story and he said, I will never see him forever. And for very long time he never saw that person. Of course the architect is no more today, but I am still in touch with Sham. Did you go to see him for the last time? He said no, he never saw even him saw his MD for even for the last time. So he had developed that kind of bitterness. I'm sure you guys would be thinking what comes out of this story. Keep thinking about it. Meanwhile, I'll move on to the next story, which is little similar to this. A colleague of mine, for explanation, I call him Bhima. We're all Brahmins. He's also a Brahmin. We had closely bonded with each other because we were the only Brahmins in that particular project. And uh, we were about 58, 59 people in that project. And he was a quality control engineer. He was with me in my previous organization also. And he was, I took him in my team in this current organization where we were working. So it was a wonderful story of the project developing, and it was a wonderful story of he contributing to the project as a quality control engineer. Not just him, everybody was contributing. We had a successful winning project, and thereon we went on to do many multiple projects, the similar kind of teams. We went on to do many winning successful projects. The team was all good, but somewhere uh, this quality control engineer Bhima was not developing in his career. Uh, One thing I remember about him, he always used to say that one of his managers earlier had told him that you don't dress well. So in that conversation, the conversation ended like this. His manager had said, dressing well doesn't mean expensive, but wearing neat clothes. So that is something that he had shared it with me when he joined my team. And I remember him with this statement. And he went on to become a general manager in the organization with a lot of people under him. However, uh, he felt that he is not growing. His career had stagnated, and he once fine day he decided that he'll go to Qatar. He went as a great quality control engineer there, and built his career over there. But 3 years later, he came down about 1.5 decades ago to Bangalore and try to settle here. We have a group of that organization where all the ex-employees are in a WhatsApp group. We are about, I think, 100 plus engineers in that group, and we keep conversing. And almost every day basis, as we have BBB socials. So one fine day, we got a news that Bhima had committed suicide. Now, when we started discussing about why it happened during his when we went to see him for the last time, a lot of us met there, and we were discussing. Then we realized that he had developed a kind of inferiority complex. He was he had developed he had lost his confidence. He was relying very low. At home also, he had two grown-up kids. However, he was feeling that he's not important. These were the feelings that he had in during his last couple of years or months, is what we could gather from this particular uh, mishap that happened, I would say. Now fast forward, this is the third scene, or the third story, which I want to share with you all about. I have seen this two gentlemen, Praveen and Swami. Now Swami was working in a multinational organization, and Praveen was his ex-colleague. When there was an opening in multinational organization, Swami recommended Praveen, and Praveen came on board. And when Praveen came on board, unfortunately for Swami, he came on board at a one position higher than Swami. So with that, what happened was uh, there was some amount, very small iota of unhappiness with Swami, that he recommended Praveen. However, he was upgraded to the position from the position that was called for. So that didn't go well with Swami. However, over the period of years, Swami was a very good leader. He had a great leadership qualities. And Praveen also came as a leader into that particular organization. But there was a clash between leader and a leader versus leadership. So Praveen had a, a different style of functioning. We all have our own style of functioning. We all have our own style of talking. We have our own styles or needs and wants and things like that. We are all unique in our own way. Though two people take birth at the same time, their qualities, their needs, wants, behavior, everything is different. Uh, so Praveen was so unique that I can bracket him under a narcissist. A narcissist is somebody who thinks that he is the best, he is the greatest, he knows everything. He is somebody who needs to be followed. He needs a lot of followers. He doesn't take anybody's acceptance before he does any action. However, in this particular situation, Praveen and Swami were contemporaries one time, but it had become a situation of Praveen trying to uh, being a guru for Swami, though he was good qualified and he knew what decisions need to be taken, and he was going right. However, Praveen wanted to play the guru for Swami. And it so happened that because of restructuring in the organization, again unfortunate for Swami, he went into a role of service provider for the same organization. Very unfortunate for him. So it gave a little upper hand for Praveen. Client versus service provider was what came about. So it came to a situation where Praveen started dictating Swami that it is my way or it is highway. So Swami felt very awful. This was not this the story that I'm telling you in short is not over uh, days or months. It was for over an years. I had seen this tussle between Praveen and Swami happening for over 5.5 years. One day, we got to know that his body was found in the crevices of a kilometer from Organical Falls. Three stories that I have spoken to you about. One talks about Sham, who never met his first boss for many, many years because the relationship had tainted. The second, Bhima, who was extremely good, extremely wonderful in his work, extremely talented, somebody who had contributed to many, many projects, uh, ended his life all by himself. Third one, again, it's a sad story for Swami, who committed suicide because of the situation that he had come across. Now, this has these three stories has two parts to it. One is somebody who is who is pushing you, somebody who is getting victimized. I'm sure all of us have behaved in both the manners in some place or the other. We have pushed our kids, we have pushed our neighbors, we have pushed our fellow team members, we have pushed many, many people, we have given pushbacks to many ideas, opinions, feelings, and things like that. We have also undergone these situations. I'm not talking about suicidal tendency that we have gone across. We are all, I'm sure, people in BBB are strong enough. Uh, I'm only talking about the low lights that we have sometimes in our life because somebody pushes us. Somebody doesn't give respect to what we feel or what we say, what we opine about things around what we do, be it at home or in profession. So with these three stories, I'm sure you have definitely jogged your memory about something or the other that I have said, which is about your past. Now, I have told you what are common in all these three stories. Now, can I take a minute or 1.5 and request you all to put it on the chat as to what else is common in these three stories? This will help me take a little breath also. Sense of insecurity, ego, depression, misunderstanding, inferiority complex, okay, self-centered nature, wonderful, life over one's career, hasty decision, hanging on to old memories, wonderful, unable to forget and forgive, fantastic, yes, the value system, low self-esteem, I'll come to that, Revengeful approach. Okay. Now let's go on to first understand what is validation. There are different dictionary meanings, but I would pick this one: recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid or worthwhile. That's validation. In the context of invalidation, is what I'm talking. Now, we engineers or otherwise also, we get a lot of things validated. That has a different meaning. But in the context of invalidation, uh, a person has got a feeling. Please remember, I'm repeating this word feeling more often. It's only feeling that I'm talking about. So we all have feelings. Now, when we are in interaction with others, is that feeling recognized? Is there a nod from the other person about what we are feeling? Does the other person also feel the same way, the way we are feeling in a conversation that we have? Is it something that is accepted? That's validation. Now, contrary to that is invalidation. It's a process of denying or rejecting somebody's feeling. Invalidation sends a message that a person's emotional experience is inaccurate, is not significant, is definitely not acceptable. We have seen this situation very often, that we have an opinion, we give a suggestion, we come out with what we are feeling, and that person says, oh, no, that's not acceptable, that's not right. I'll give you a small example of, we have 10 of us, we are having a meeting, and we uh, somebody is intently talking, and you would find three or four of them busy texting within the room. They are not attentive, they are busy, or they take the phone and go out of the room to take a call. I'm sure that is important. However, this is only an example. I'm only trying to say that somebody is trying to opine, give suggestion, talk, discuss, brainstorm, do a lot of things in a group when the 10 of them are sitting over there. But if somebody's feeling is disrupted, is disturbed, not acceptable, is brushed aside, saying that you are not important, I know more than you. Who are you to tell me? Not again. We have heard this enough and more from our superiors. That is invalidation. That gives a very bad uh, memory for us to take it forward. We all live in our memory. If you look at the thinking that happens cognitively, uh, it is researched and said that 80% of the time we live in our memories. We always think about what has happened in the past. We don't think much about the future. 20% is only planning, but when we are thinking, 80% is about the past. So when we as a leaders don't accept or deny something to somebody over a conversation, a meeting, or a discussion, we are giving a memory to that person. We are invalidating that person. We are invalidating that person's feeling or uh, emotion. For example, emotion is not the right word in this context. However, we are invalidating somebody and giving a memory for him to build on that memory. When this invalidation keeps happening often and often and often with the same person or with multiple people, what happens is the memory piles up. Insecurity, somebody had said, somebody who losing confidence is trying to give, adding on to that memory and pushing that somebody to something wrong. This reminds me, I was looking at one of the dance competition in on YouTube, which had happened a year ago, where Aruna Irani had come. Aruna Irani was a great dancer, and in Hindi film industry, she was telling her past. In her past, she had said that she got her first movie because of her dance guru, and dance guru said that I have a film and for an offer to you. Will you be able to take up that role? She said, I don't dance well. How can you? Don't worry. I am there to give you the rehearsal. And it so happened in the first time she faced the camera, the guru was not there. He was shooting in Chennai, it seems. And he didn't give time to practice. So he came, gave the steps, and she acted, and it didn't go well. But the guru did not tell her, it seems, that your dance moves were wrong. He put it on camera, he put it on lights, he put it on many other things to tell that we have to retake it, and it was retaken many times, which was a practice for her. So that is validation, that is not invalidation. Imagine if he had said, Arunai Rani, that look here, I have taught you for so many years, you don't even know how to put small steps which can be re-recorded. How bad you are at dancing. If he had said that, probably Aruna Irani's career would have got finished. I just thought I'll share this. So moving on, what is lost? There are many things, but what came into my mind when I was writing those stories for you was people get depressed. People are loners also. You would have seen. People try to live alone in their life. They are not very open. Their life is not an open book. They shut off from everybody. They speak only when they are spoken to. A lot of people build in anxiousness. Like an invalidation has happened from a leader, and if that person has to approach that person, he will always be anxious as to how the conversation is going to turn out to be. And many other anxiousness builds over. And a lot of mental illness across the world is generally happening because of this invalidation, which is due to people interaction, wrong people relationship. And though shutting off and loneliness are together, but loneliness is generally uh, uh, in the family setup. In a family setup, people get into loneliness when invalidation happens. uh, yeah, of course, somebody said people lose confidence. These are just of the few things that people lose or they miss because of this. Now, also, what is it as a leader that we need to do? uh, Let me remind you, there are two sides of the coin. You are a victim, you are a leader. So invalidation, how do we stop invalidating, is what I'm trying to say. There are many other things that as a victim that you can respond, that I'm not talking it in this session. But as leaders, we all will have to stop doing what we are not doing right, probably. First is be in the presence of the present. You have to be having presence of where you are, whom you are talking to, whom you are conversing with, who is listening attentively, is what is the other word for this. Talk, listen, and then talk. Next one is very related. Listening is loving. There is reciprocation. So when you listen attentively, you will definitely reciprocate. Now, why there is a relationship which I want to share here between loving and reciprocation. A lot of people say, I love cars. Do cars reciprocate? I think I should say, I love this person, because there is a reciprocation. Loving always have reciprocation. Liking and loving, there is a subtle difference between the two. So listening is what is loving, because there is reciprocation between two people. And how do you reciprocate? This is one of the way that when you have to have a conversation, and have it in private. I'm not saying that all private conversations are good. Everything that happens in private is good. There are a lot of things that happen in private. It's easy to reprimand somebody in private, yes, but when you are talking in private, also don't come out and broadcast it. Also, in that conversation, have a relationship, listen, be in the presence, and don't try to invalidate people. Now, have you all seen a child crying without tears in the eyes? I'm sure you have. How funny it is, isn't it? Now, do only kids cry? Everybody cries. Somebody says, I have lot of money. Somebody says, I have no work. So both are contradicting to each other, but both are crying. So crying can be in various form. So crying without tears is also that we all do, right? So when you're blaming also, for me, it is kind of crying. You're blaming somebody for something else. You're ranting, you're crying. My suggestion would be that you own it up instead of passing it on to somebody else. You're playing with somebody's feeling when you do that. So that helps people be brave and keep their feelings intact. Don't shame anybody. Never. One is that. Secondly, whenever you try to converse with somebody, these are the two words I would suggest don't use it at all. One is always, one is never. So please try to recollect whenever what are those sentences that you speak to somebody which has these two words. You always do this. You are never right. So you are trying to see and impress that you are that. You are always right. You come into the picture. Instead, if you delete these two words in your conversation, what happens is you're putting other person on a leading side. So his feelings are intact. You're not shaming somebody using these two words. Stop judgmental statements. We human beings are great judge. We judge everybody, even though we have no right to do it. So let's stop being judgmental about anybody, anything, and anytime. Now, this is very important. I don't want to end the session without this. Don't think that conversation happens only when two people are there. We converse to ourselves also. Many times we talk to ourselves. May not be loudly, because you know loudly when you talk to yourself what people would say. So we talk to ourselves many times. So there is self invalidation also. So what are those? Not attending to your own feelings, not respecting your needs, working too much, shopping too much, eating too much of procrastination. As in one of the speeches, it was said that no, that's too much. So this is my favorite picture where I say, uh, when I try to overdo something, I remember this and say, oh no, it's too much. Let me stop it here. So you, with all these or many more, these are the top few where we inflict, we go against our feelings. Our feelings has something else, and we try to do something else. So we have to stop self-invalidation also, not just others. Respect the feelings of others, but respect the feeling of ourselves as well. One important note, not for this session, however, there is a large difference between feelings and emotions. I suggest you all don't interchange these two. In the throughout my sessions, I've only talked about feelings, not emotions. Emotions is a different topic that we can discuss someday else. My suggestion would be that you try to Google or YouTube, understand the difference between feelings and emotions. If you think this session has been useful and you want to try to mend or change or start doing something, have to only work around your feelings, not on the emotions. So feelings of others. So for that, you need to understand the difference between the feeling and the emotions. Now, last, how do you shoo away invalidation? Many ways, but the best way, the golden rule is treat the people you want to be treated. I'm sure all of you must have heard about it. There's not a single soul on this call who has not heard or read about this golden rule. I'm sure you have, but there is a platinum rule. Treat the people they want to be treated. That will stop invalidation. I'm not saying that the first one is wrong. First one is right, but second one is much, much, much better. Thank you.
Wow. Nagesh, I think that's fantastic. I can never stop listening to you. I wish you could go on and on and on. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. I think, in fact, two of the best takeaways for me were, one was self-invalidation, that can be extremely toxic to our personal growth here or anywhere else. I think that's very, very important that we all of us stop doing. And the other thing that I learned was, at some point, at somewhere, anywhere, I think, there could have been some kind of an invalidation that has happened because of me. I think, it's a conscious decision that I think I will take from now on to see that as I walk away from a conversation, I have a friend rather than trying to invalidate or judge somebody. Thank you so much for those valuable lessons.
Sir Nagesh, sir, the last time usage of those two words, I can never stop listening to you and always want to listen to you. And from today onwards, no usage of those two.
It's difficult to stop using those two words from the very now. It takes a little effort for all of us to, stop using those two words. And good attempt will definitely lead you to have a good relation with whomever you are with, kids, family, friends, colleagues, and many others.
So before we talk about the subject, I think the success of your talks is apparently visible in the attendance. There are 24 people today.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Sir,
I believe,
this
and I believe that by the time the next session is on, we'll have 30 and above attending.
Absolutely.
Any questions or thoughts or something that you want to share with me?
Sir, this was an eye opener for me, and this really made me realize that I have to say sorry to someone very soon. Thank you very much.
So hope that person is not in this group.
Absolutely, Nagesh sir. This is the first session I am attending on the BBB platform. There are many things which triggered me, in fact, which took me back into the past because my learnings were not that adequate. And today's session became an eye-opener to me. What are the possible mistakes we can make it in a very subtle way? It might be by oversight, but how it can really impact others. That was very clear in today's sessions, because usually I do not really give that importance to feeling and emotions, at least, of course, not last 6 months, but before that. But what impact these two areas can really make to an individual and building a relationship is what you put it in a very, very subtle and very experiential way. Thank you so much. And I think I need to be double careful enough to ensure that at least the relationship is intact. Possibly you may not even win in, you always generally say, don't try to win an argument, build your relationship. Right? And that will in fact take you to the winning pool. And your explanations today, in fact, argue that and substantiate that way very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And, Nagesh sir, good morning. So actually, I have a complaint in your presentation. So you're not allowing people to do multitasking when you present, right? So I can't move around. So I'm stick to your presentation. Yeah, so awesome. Yeah, I think the last PhD that you put, I had a question. So was it with human psychology or systems? So what have you done?
Oh, okay. No. I'm passionate about project management, so my PhD is in those areas, not on psychology.
Nice. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you.
Ramurthy sir, one observation. All the years that I worked in India, I never really got any praise. Okay, nobody came and complimented me on my work. When I moved abroad, within the first month, I received more compliments about my dedication and my approach and my professionalism than I had ever done in my life. So I think culturally we are not very forgiving or not a very enabling kind of environment.
Yes.
I think we need to change a little bit. We have to be more
Absolutely.
welcoming of our own people and
We'll have to
supportive
move
of our own.
BBB Malaysian to Malaysia.
Pardon me?
You mean to say we'll have to move BBB Malaysian to BBB Malaysia?
No,
No,
we
no,
have
no.
to move, we
No,
have to
we
move
will-
our mindsets a little
No.
bit
Right.
and
As
be
a-
more
as-
welcoming. I think
As leaders, we will have to change ourselves and start appreciating others.
correct. I have learned now to keep praising my people. Whatever little achievement there is, it's always you have to give positive reinforcement.
Absolutely, sir. I have worked with a lot of uh, uh, people who are from European and American region. Uh, some people in Middle East also. There, if there is a relationship index, I think they will score very high. And also, I have not traveled abroad for work. I have traveled abroad, but not for work. But I have worked with all these guys. One thing that I can tell you is the way they appreciate comes from their heart. And even the smallest thing they appreciate, that keeps your energies up, that keeps your morale and moods up. You rightly said, sir, we are very bad at appreciating somebody else. We think that somebody will sit on our head if we start appreciating. That's not the case. We are all grown ups, and we know where to sit and put our butts on. I think you rightly said we should start
Yes, yes.
appreciating
I think for
our everybody.
10 years,
Well,
I think I went through that particular experience with I could very closely associate myself. And what Hemant said was right. Like when you get an external view, so I had a different Indian manager and versus after 10 years, I got a American one. So it was like even a small one was an appreciative method that they approached to boost our energies and confidence level. And that is what I stand today for. And definitely, yes, it's a very good story, sir.
Very true. Even that small
lighter
gestures of thank you or please is also really very good in them than us.
Sir, on a lighter note, sir, in scene 3, if the name was not Swami and it was Subramania Swami, the scene would have been different.
Sir, simple mantra would be Karmanya Vadikaraste Mapaleshu Kadacha. You do what you have to do, don't expect the result. And I'm sure that will take this invalidation a long way, how to handle it.
I guess that actually, if you see all the three examples what you have given, in all the three cases, people become desperate. Main thing is, what I understand is, they are unable to forget and forgive. And they hang on to their old memories. And, once you forget and forgive, your mind will be relaxed and, you can move forward. So we hang on to the old memories and whatever the bad incident or bad experience you have had. God has given us the ability to forget and forgive, but I think we need to use it more extensively. That's what I feel. And in our culture, there is a see, when something goes wrong, when we are not able to achieve what we set out to achieve, we blame it. It's a fate. ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಹಣೆ ಬರ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಣೆ ಬರನ ಹಿಂಗಿದೆ. So the culture is already there, how to forget, forgive and move on in life. I think, I don't know who coined this word hane bara, but many places when you, in spite of trying various methods for success, if you still fail, you blame it on hane bara. ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಹಣೆ ಬರ ಹಿಂಗಿದೆ. So that means our elders have given a route for you to come out of the situation, forget and forgive and move on in life. I think whatever three stories you have explained, three scenes, I try to recollect there. Hope I am right.
Yes, though we have it's not a memory chip here, but the memory is so expandable out here. We try to keep a lot of things out here as we do it in our system. The old things, now unrequired things, we keep deleting and emptying our space in the memory there on the laptop or system. Same thing, I think we will have to do it here also. I also said that this is from the leadership perspective.
Yeah.
That is how we behave with others and invalidate others. but I have not spoken as to if you are getting invalidated, what you needs to do. Yes, one of the things what you said is forget and forgive. That is one of the ways. There are many other methods and ways in which you can still stay strong. There are many who have still stayed strong. So that's, as Kiran says, I think some other day.
Yeah, thank you. What to Kiran?
Yes. So
While we have heard from one Nagesh, the other Nagesh is silently smiling. So, sir, you have anything to say?
Yes, sir. Even we are come across some of the things that Nagesh sir has told. My idea is forgive and forget. So once you forgive and forget those things and forgive those people, even in high schools, when I come in Bangalore from rural area, I have a lot of trouble understanding English and those things. One day the miss has told and she get me outside of the class. So that day I was humiliated. Then I started. So these things has happened. Then I forgive her and forget myself, and I started learning. So these things has had happened to me. Even some of the things, even now, I am not able to perfectly speak in English. So because of those things is hidden in me also. So I'm overcoming that, sir. Thank you, Nagesh, sir.
Excellent, sir.
so much.
You have great memory. You're remembering things what happened 40 years back. Excellent, sir.
Yes, sir.
Nagesh, one final thing I would request from you is if you want to consciously practice this, what would your one advice be for all of us in the forum?
One advice would be that the first one in my slide on do's and don'ts. Um, have your presence in the present. That solves a lot of problems. I think if you start practicing that, uh, not keep everything, all the surroundings also with you at all the times. Um, I think that will solve lots and lots of problems.
And somewhere, long back, I read this one thing. I think this sort of has proven to be a little sort of invaluable. You walk into a situation as a friend, finish your business, whatever it is, good, bad, whatever it is. But most importantly, walk out as a friend. I think that really helps. If you can sort of consciously practice that, it has helped me in a few situations. Maybe not be always, but I always go in as a friend, finish the transaction. It's not be probably favorable in all the situations, but most importantly, walk out as a friend, so that that person wants to meet you back again at whatever point and try to reconnect back to you.
Very true, sir. Leadership is not just at your professional setup. You are a leader at many other places also. For example, your home. There are a lot of people who look up to you uh, for your experience, for your age, for your thoughts, and many things. You are a leader at home with your kids and wife. So this is true even there. So what is more important amongst people is the relationship, and how you build that. There are many strategies. One of it is avoiding invalidation.
Thank you for your invaluable lessons. Or somebody saying something? Sorry.
No, I think the last important one was more than business. It's about the personal life, where a lot of us need to use this to build the relationships. I think invalidating at home immediate ones would put them in a kind of shutdown mode, and that is something that we got to practice right from home.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you. So, group, what do we say? Can I have a few more sessions by Nagesh, or give him a break?
Give him a yeah.
What do all of you have to say?
He's a young man. Give it.
Sorry?
He's an young
Give
man, no? Give more chances to him.
Give him more
So
so
I
that
think-
we get more, Kiran.
Yes.
Give
Nagesh,
him
please
more so that we
continue.
get more.
In fact,
Yes, well-
you will create more efficient leaders in BBB.
Anyway, Nagesh is now the leader speak coordinator, so I leave the decision completely to him. It is his decision, whatever he wants to do. Pick up somebody else, or he continues for a few more sessions, gives himself a break, whatever.
Or train somebody to be like him.
That's another one to look at.
I think we had this conversation yesterday. I can come back some other time. I'm sure we are all good leaders. We have to only slightly hone our rough edges that we have, and I'm also sure that there are many in this group who have got good, great experiences, which I'm sure that we all would like to hear.
Absolutely,
I think
echo that.
I think we should now move on from here. I will talk to a couple of people and see who can be the next speaker. Um, of course, if there is a wide gap, I'm there to fill it up someday in the future. But I think the baton should pass on now. I'll come back later, is what I'm strongly thinking.
Yes.
Okay. Before we wind up for the day, I just